Good day everyone, this is Hao Kingley, your Quantum Odyssey tour guide. Happy belated Easter holiday, happy belated World Quantum Day. And today I'm back with a very special announcement for you, a very special session. And this has to do with something called daylight saving time. So who wants to change clocks twice per year? There are certain times of the day seen as particularly disliked. We have Blue Monday, maybe there's a song called New Order, Blue Monday. Valentine's Day, which was the post-Super Bowl ritual and which lots of pressure. Any post-holiday day when you go back to work. The Labor Day, and most importantly the tax day. But one day that is also have a movable schedule, just like Easter or Chinese New Year, and that we are only announced way too late. It's called daylight saving time. So this is a particularly hated day, and I have made an announcement regarding the behind the scenes of the new video that I'm making. So daylight saving time means you lose an hour of sleep, but also you'll have to spend another 30 minutes doing extra housekeeping on your car, on your alarm clocks, on your phones, just to correct the clock in response to DST. Technically, DST means you advance what's displayed on the clock 1 hour later. It's called spring forward. And the other clock change, which you move the clock back 1 hour, is called fallback, is when DST is switched back to standard time. So hopefully you just had this 30 minutes of hassle and a lost hour of sleep. But this rabbit hole of daylight savings time, maybe another Easter joke, goes back much deeper. Most importantly, daylight saving time is a centuries-old practice of moving clocks forward, usually by an hour, as a measure to avoid wasting sunlight hours as displayed on the clock. Because we do not want to wake up too early according to the clock, as now our society is ran by the synchronized clocks rather than by the sun. Even though the definition of a day, so therefore hour, minute, second, by first principles is based on the sun. And what we say called morning or night, we instinctually still express it in terms of the sun, like where the sun is at. As if you're in the polar regions, right now, in winter, that there is no daylight, so it's always night time. Or in most cases, it's just there's twilight, there's the night. Only if you're really close to the poles, then there's 24-hour light. But that is actually a really ancient phenomenon. Ancient and pre-modern societies have observed an extreme version of DST, and this is what is being presented there. So, on the left is a water clock. In the middle, it is a sundial. On the right, it's the sun chart. And the sun chart is much more uneven at higher latitudes than on lower latitudes. If you are near the equator, then the length of the daylight is roughly equal across the year. So basically there is the morning, afternoon and evening times are fixed. If you are in the temperate region, then mornings start much earlier in summer and then much later in winter. If you're in Sweden, Norway, Scandinavian countries, or something north of the 60th parallel in general, then in the summertime you typically don't have a full-fledged night. And during midsummer, it could be daytime even at midnight. So this is the diagram of these ancient timekeeping devices. The ancients, let's say you're in the Roman or Greek times, you have to change your clocks 12 times a week, 12 times a year. So a different clock for every moon. That's an extreme version of DST. And this is the current state of DST across the world. There has been an update. So at the time I have made this slides and at the time I have recorded this first version of this video, I have actually made announcement posts regarding that there might be a delay. But so dark shades are time zones which observe DST. Light shades, for example Arizona and the tropical regions, are the zones which do not observe DST. The main colors are blue, pink, and yellow, green, while those which are between are with like these odd interpolated colors like India time. The borders are irregular because they are like a compromise between the longitudes, so that's much like the 12 equal divisions of astrology, and the geopolitical borders, which is much like the uneven divisions of the IAU constellations. So they're together used to define the time zone borders, to synchronize that region and to lie as closely to the ground reality. It is like Scorpio and Scorpius. So Scorpio is obviously 1/12 of an equinox, and there's a tropical and sidereal one, which is just like precession, and Scorpius is defined in terms of IAU, and you can say like the sun only passes through Scorpius for just 7 days per year, because much of Scorpius is the body of that really corresponds to Ophiuchus. While when the sun is in Scorpius, it just means that the sun is in Scorpius' tail. So the borders are artificial there in some ways. Indeed, the situation is probably more complicated. There might be like more upcoming time zone changes. There has been one in British Columbia, which you will see that there will be like a newer version of this video, and then you will see like one difference. It gets even more complex. Like, these are the list of all the current DST countries, and there are several transition points. It's not like, hey, like you are in Australia and then like say, hey, it's the first Sunday of October and then the Sunday of April, and then there's a slight discrepancy in New Zealand as well. As in last Sunday in March for New Zealand. Then there's Egypt, which has its very unique DST patterns. It's almost tropical. Then we have the European countries, which the DST time is synchronized all together. So European country in another time zone will have its DST transition at a different point in their own local clock than for somewhere in the east, like Ukraine, than somewhere in the west, like the UK or Spain. The Euro have a more delayed DST transition time, and also like a shorter transition time than the Americas, which transition times are second Sunday of March and the first Sunday to the first Sunday of November. And that, when I mean Sunday, I mean the technical definition, as if you mean like DST applies while you're sleeping. In Chile, it's first Sunday in September, so slight discrepancy. First in June, and then there are many. It gets much more complicated. There has been like a further update to the DST, such that the DST amounts for the majority of the time of the year. And I will have to review what has happened to the British Columbia case. There has been bills for abolition, but it has been quite heavily delayed, quite contested. Bills have been moved in both North America and the European Union to abolish the clock changes. The process is lengthy with bureaucracy. British Columbia is that target that has been changed for this year. They will adopt permanent DST called, and they will actually just called Pacific Time. British Columbia was once at Mountain Time, but it's now Pacific Time. It's just called Pacific Time, but it is technically Pacific Daylight Time. They just call it Pacific Time, but it's technically Pacific Daylight Time. In fact, Canada is the first country to enact DST since 1908, and 1916 is the first year worldwide which DST has been enacted. So this is a 110th anniversary of this now cumbersome twice a year clock change ritual. Hopefully you've enjoyed this presentation. Like and subscribe to my videos, and here are the more contents. So I will be remaking the 50 again. It has been quite delayed, but thank you very much. I have already reached 250 subscribers, so this is the 250 subscriber special. 250 subs. Yay! I have gained the role as a Qiskit advocate, and Quantum Odyssey is en route to early access graduation, and the offline functionality has been developed. It has been rolled out for the development branch, but most importantly, we will be reaching the 250th anniversary of the United States, which is accompanied with a record-breaking, well-anticipated FIFA football or soccer matches. Hopefully, one of those teams will win. Or maybe I would say the DR Congo. Cheers!